He goes full Space Jam, Monstar mode, just lightsabers, people fighting. He just went mental. At that moment, he was less like a rhino and more like an ostrich. That was full head loss from me. Head rolled off. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to The Golden Sky. I'm Tom. Today, Liverpool have just beaten Spurs 2-1 in one of the most mental endings to a game I have ever seen. A game that started off so boring, with not a lot happening, ended, I mean, listen, Spurs played the Star Wars music before that game started, when the teams were coming out. It ended like the bloody Empire Strikes Back there, didn't it? Just lightsabers, people fighting. Darth Vader, I'm sure at one point was on the pitch. He took the form of Alisson for that game there. Came on just causing mayhem, using the Force. Just, what on earth was that ending? But Liverpool have won. For Christmas this year, the Cardiac Reds have given us all the gift of a Type 3 heart attack. Thank you very much for that, Liverpool. I'll take that to my grave, because seriously, it's coming faster and faster with each one of these games I watch. But the point is, we win. We can go into Christmas with a victory. I'm happy about that. It was hellish hell for 15 minutes. But at least that gives us stuff to talk about on the match ratings. And these are the match ratings for all of the players who played in that game. So let's get them on the board. Here they all are. All 16 of them. All beautiful. All in my good books today. Once again. Well, let's see as we go through them all, and we talk about them all in a bit of detail. Okay, Alisson in the goal we start with. This guy, I wish sometimes at night, at night that I'm in my bed, it's cold nights, I'm lonely, in my bed there, winter, I'm thinking, Christmas is here, I wish I had Alisson to come and just give me a little cuddle, like he cuddles that ball when Liverpool get a shot on them from goal, and it looks a bit dangerous, and Ali just gets the ball, caresses it into his arms, gives it a little hug and says, don't worry, little football, me and you're in safe hands. That's how I want to be looked after. Somebody cuddle me the way Alisson does that football, because it's so relieving of pressure when he does that. There were a few shots they had there towards the end, one from Jed Spence, the free kick from Porro, where I am absolutely, and I'm not going to mince my words here, I am shitting my keks, right? I mean, there is literal poo in my keks watching that last 15 minutes of that game. And Alisson just settles everything down. He didn't really have anything to do until that point, but he did enough. He makes the save, like when the cross comes in right at the end, he dives across like a giant man with his big bare paws and just claws it away. And we win the game. We survive by the skin of our teeth. I mean, it was so close, and it shouldn't have been, but he does enough. The goal, he's never saving the goal. It was a calamitous bit of defending from us, yet again, from a set piece. We cannot defend set pieces. He's not involved. He actually came for a set piece a bit later on after that and punched it clear. I thought he was brilliant in those last 10 minutes, and for that reason, for me, he gets an 8. And it's not just those last 10 minutes, but also there was a moment in the first half where Konate goes full rhino. I've told him about this. Don't go full rhino ever. He does go full rhino. He just lets the ball go over his head, and he just forgets that he's playing football, and Kolo Muani tries to run through. Alisson is already alert. Usain Bolt out the traps. In fact, he was slow out the traps. Johan Blake out the traps. Gets to the ball first, makes the save with his hands, and then throws a little body feint on Kudus, and we retain possession. My God. That game was crazy. It finished about 30 seconds after I started recording here, so I am very amped up, as you might be able to tell. Let's go to Conor Bradley, who only played 45 minutes in this one. And it was a bit of a slow 45 minutes, the first 45, wasn't it? I mean, really boring half. Like, the type you would show if you had finally convinced your girlfriend to come and watch the game. You're saying, look, football's great. You're going to want to come and watch this. It's going to be great. Night game. Spurs Liverpool, there's always loads of goals. You're thinking, this is the one to show her, to get her into football, right? You've cooked her. You're thinking, get in. This is going to be so good. She comes over. She watches that first half. She's never watching football with you ever again. It was the most boring half of football you have possibly ever seen in the history of all football, until Xavi Simons goes mental. We'll talk about that with Van Dijk in a second. Bradley was our only width, really. And the best thing I can think he did was when they got a counter-attack, and I think it was Bergvall was trying to get the ball across to Kolo Muani, and Bradley made a great run across and blocked it. That was crucial. I mean, the only other thing I can think of him doing really of note in that first half was early on when the ball came in and he like weirdly didn't head it. That seems to be a problem with our players. They don't want to head the ball, except Van Dijk and Konate, who head it all the time and maybe want to head it a bit too much at times. Bradley just lets it like hit him like he's some sort of bounce board, and then made up for it with a good block when Kolo Muani had the shot. What a crazy game. He comes off, he might be injured. He had to do some running and then a tackle. He tends to get injured when that happens. He does seem to be made out of paper mache, or insert any other breakable material here. Glass, tissue paper, anything that's flimsy and feeble. That's what Bradley's made out of. I'll just give him a 6. Konate, do you know what? Despite the one full Rhino moment, he did good today. And I won't have it from anyone else who tells me he didn't, because he did good. He makes a brilliant block when, in our absolute moment of madness, it was like 20 minutes of madness towards the end when they went down to 9 men. He makes a brilliant block when Richarlison goes through and he sprints back. At that moment, he was less like a rhino and more like an ostrich, just absolutely flying. If any of you have seen that video of the ostrich chasing the fella in a car or on a bike or something, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's absolutely hilarious. I might even link it in the description because it's that funny. That was Konate running back, makes the tackle, and then just yells at somebody. God knows what he yelled. I don't even know who he yelled at. It has to be Jones, because he was fucking around with the ball. He does enough. And not just that, he made a couple other good blocks in the game. He was winning headers all game long. Really, really good in the air. Good performance from him there. I thought he defended pretty well. And then he goes and gets his arm kicked off by Romero. I mean, what on earth is wrong with that fella? He's not right, him, at all. He belongs in some sort of, I don't know, anger management home, that fella. Is that even a thing? An anger management home? He's just fuming. He's fuming the whole time he plays. And he kicks Konate on the arm for reasons unknown. I don't really know why he did that, but it's like when he hurts people, he loves it. It's like his favourite thing. Kicks Konate in the arm. Konate sells it beautifully. Great acting job from him. And Romero gets sent off and they went down to 9 men, even though it didn't seem like it, did it? I mean, wow, what on earth happened to us at the end of that game? Konate, good performance from him, to be honest. I'm going to give him a 7, I think, is probably fair. Van Dijk, the first thing we've got to talk about is the red card, isn't it, I suppose? Xavi Simons. The game in the first half was so dead. Like, as dead as a doornail. There was nothing happening at all. And from out of nowhere, Xavi Simons just does the most ridiculous tackle I've ever seen, really. He just lands his foot on Van Dijk's calf for no reason. It was a bit like Gordon's earlier in the season, except this one was probably less of an obvious red card. He actually made the tackle, and I said, as a bit of a joke, send him off. And then as soon as they showed the replay and I saw where he landed on his leg, I thought, they will send him off here. They will, because they do. Wallace and Gromit got on the VAR machine. They're thinking, oh, here we go. Send the ref over to the monitor. The ref enters the cube there. He's listening to all the bloody instructions, decides red card, and off Xavi Simons went. He has a permo crying face, Xavi Simons, so it was hard to tell how upset he actually was, because his face, even when he's happy, he's permo crying. So he went off. See you later, Xavi. Thanks for coming, mate. Ridiculous tackle. Helped us out because we looked devoid of ideas in that first half. But Van Dijk took one for the team. Sock was ripped. Loved it in the second half how he didn't even bother to fix it. Just played with a ripped sock. I love that. No bother changing. It was actually maybe good for him. He did that thing what all the players do where they cut holes in the socks now. Maybe that helped. Or maybe it didn't help because the clearance is the next biggest thing we've got to talk about when they score their goal. I mean, what is he doing? What is he doing? complete air shot, like a practice swing on golf, or in golf, I don't know what you say. Just completely air shots the ball. It's nowhere even near connecting. Terrible clearance, forced to the pigeon, and he scored. Luckily, we were winning and didn't have to watch that bloody pigeon dance, because like I said in the preview, if he'd have scored that and it had been the winner, that was me off to London, full sprint all the way to London. I'd have broke all sorts of running records to just go and bloody elbow him in the face, throwing bows at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to get in, to just to find him and rip his blonde hair out of his skull. I can't stand him. And he scored again. He always does against us. And it was partly down to Van Dijk's disastrous defending. For that reason, I had to dock him a point. And he goes to a 6, because other than that, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, we didn't have much defending to do, guys, really, did we? Especially after the red card. Spurs were very, very poor. I mean, very, very poor. And we dealt with them fine until those last 20 minutes when we went insane. I mean, clinically insane. It was as though if we were on trial there, we would have been not sent to jail, but sent to a mental asylum, because we were not right in those last 20 minutes at all. Kerkez did a good job. Again, I thought his level is steadily improving, and he seems to be hitting a consistently good performance level now for me. It drives me insane when I see him do that sliding tackle with his arms behind his back. I don't know how he does it. He does it every time, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It doesn't seem to affect him in how he defends. He's very skilled at it, but it is mental how he does it that way. Throwing himself like full kamikaze into slide tackles, but has the wherewithal to put his hands behind his back. That's where we've come to, I guess. He makes a great block on, God, it might have been Kolo Muani. Somebody, he blocked it and it looped up in the air and hit the bar. That was terrifying at 1-0. And I thought, okay, we've survived the biggest scare of the game there. Well, how wrong was I? I mean, what we were left to see in the last 20 minutes was, I mean, that little incident was nothing compared to what we ended up seeing. But Kerkez, he did a great job on Kudus in the first half. The rare occasions he did have the ball, he matched him completely. Kudus got took off. I mean, I don't know how much of that was because Kerkez shut him down. Just a change of shape with Spurs only having 10 men. I thought he did well. I thought his overlaps were really good, and he underlapped well as well. Good timing on the underlaps. Let's actually talk some football here with Kerkez. Underlapped well. Wirtz found him a few times at good timing. He was delivering relatively dangerous balls. Nothing too perfect of a cross in this game. Didn't really find anybody. But they're the right things for him to do, and that's what I just want him to keep doing over and over and over again. Got pure Michael Schumacher. I think it is Is Michael Schumacher the F1 driver? He might be the F1 driver. I'm talking, I don't mean him. I mean the French goalkeeper, Schumacher, who back in the day hip checked that one fella. What am I on about here? There was a fella called Schumacher. He might have been the player who got hit. I can't remember. You all know what I'm talking about. Someone called Schumacher smashed somebody in the head and knocked him out. It was a terrible tackle. It was the goalkeeper. It was way back in the day. Bentancur did that to Kerkez. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Okay, I've probably lost a few of you there. Just trust me, okay? And apologies to Michael Schumacher, who I'm pretty sure is an F1 driver. Kerkez, 7 or 8? 7. Let's go 7. Gravenberch in the middle. Oh, it takes too many touches again for me in that first half on the ball. A little bit slow. I just wanted to see him do things a little bit faster all the time. I actually wanted us at half-time to take Konate off for Isak and put Gravenberch at centre-back. I thought that might help us. We ended up taking Bradley off. He might be injured, so I understand. I thought he was better second half when we really weren't under much pressure going the other way at all, moving the ball forwards. He's interested in his position when we didn't have the ball, and I'll look at this more in the tactical video later in the week, but he was really dropping off. But sometimes as a 4-1-4-1, he'd be the defensive midfielder, and then sometimes he was in a back 5 when we didn't have the ball. That was interesting to see. Look, it wasn't vintage. It wasn't anything special from him. There's not really a whole lot to add to Gravenberch's performance. So all I'll say here is I'll ask you, what are you all doing for Christmas, guys? You know, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Are you having something special? Why not? Just tell me. who knows? I had my hair cut today in preparation for all the Christmas celebrations. Don't know if any of you can see that there. Gravenberch, he's always the one to give me something random to talk about. Let's give him a 6 and go to Maka, who was equally quiet, really. It was a very strange game, in my opinion. There was a lot of players who didn't do a lot, really, and then there was like a few players who had all the stuff happen to them. Maka was one of them who wasn't really all that involved in a lot of the important moments in the game. He got fouled a few times as per. I mean, he's always just getting kicked around. I think he got himself a yellow as well when he smashed somebody at the end. He must have been looking at Romero there thinking, I've got to go and play in the bloody World Cup with this psychopath later on in the season. I mean, good grief, what do they give him before a game? He's on smoke permanently, just permanently on site smoke with anybody who comes near him. I think the ball, did it hit Maka when Romero fired it and it hit somebody and then went to us and we scored? That could have been Maka. I'm not sure, to be honest. It's all a bit of a blur at this point in time for me. Look, he did his thing. He was much better second half. First half, he was very slow and not really getting in very good positions. Second half, he was better when we had Wirtz a bit wider, which I don't love, but it did help us because they had 10 men just to spread the pitch wide. I actually thought it was good from slot. We'll talk about that more with Frimpong and Wirtz later on in the ratings. Maka was just sound, wasn't he? He was sound. He's like the part of a Christmas dinner it's never the star of the show, but it's never letting you down either. And that, for me, is the roast potato. I will say that. People love roast potatoes. I just think it's fine. You know, it's a nice part of the Christmas dinner, but it's never my favourite. Leave it in the comments what your favourite part is. Maka, 6. Jones was doing well until Richarlison came on and converted him to the fucking dark side, because Christ knows what happened to him from that point on. He went full... What are the bad guys called in Star Wars? I've never seen it. I don't really know much of what's going on. I think he was a Jedi. I think the Jedis are good. And then, who's the bad guys? I know they have red lightsabers. Are they called Siths? I don't know. That's definitely a Star Wars word. Whatever the bad guys are, that was what Jones was towards the end, because he just went mental. I mean, the one where he nearly gives the ball straight to... Well, he does give the ball straight to Richarlison and they nearly equalise was insane. Of course, we missed that live because Sky was showing us Christ knows what. I think it was a replay of the goal. Whoever is in charge of production for Sky, they have to be sacked. I spent 10 minutes of that game looking at some fella on the bench for Spurs who got booked, right? I don't even know who it was. He was some sort of coach. Somebody at Sky had to type up a graphic because there's no way they had his name stored, ready on the graphics. It was like Anton Gregorich or something. He got a yellow. Well, we sure as shit fucking hell, I can't speak now. We sure as shit saw that. There we go, I got that out. But we didn't see Curtis Jones giving the ball straight to Darth Vader to go through on goal. Luckily, they didn't score, but Jones wasn't done there. Oh no. When we had the ball, and all we needed to do was pass the ball around, because Spurs at this point had 9 men on the pitch and were trying desperately to go down to 8, by the way. If you didn't get booked in that game, then quite frankly, you were just swerving the beef at that point. And Jones gets the ball, he's got loads of passes on, and he just gravitated towards the pressure, towards the guy trying to tackle him, until they tackled him. Oh my God, I could have throttled him. If I was watch-alonging with you lot for that game, that was full head loss from me. Head rolled off down the street towards the bottom, just landed wherever the hill ended. That was where my head was. I had to collect it after the game to put it on and do the ratings. Before that, he was pretty good, I thought, but nothing crazy. So again, he gets a 6. Then we'll go to Dom Sobo. Right. He starts the game... I don't really know where. He was sort of right mid, right centre mid, right wing. I don't really know. He was just right. That was his position, was just, you're going to play right of the pitch today, Sobo. Which he did fine at. Nothing crazy. Again, didn't really get all that involved in the first half. Then he goes to right back because Bradley might be cooked again. And how did he do? Again, okay. I think he was okay. He gave us a bit more width, and that helped, especially when Frimpong came on. We spread Spurs apart a bit more. The biggest things he was involved in, though, was He gets a yellow card, so he's now suspended for Wolves. Luckily, it's Wolves, who are on pace to be the worst team in the Prem in its history. So if there was a game you're going to miss Szoboszlai for, you would pick that one, Wolves at home. So that's fine. But then he also went full head loss because of Darth Vader. He must hate him. He was ready to fight him after the first goal. He was fouling everybody. It was just a blur, honestly. It was like the start of Gladiator, when they're all just in an absolute brawl. It was mental. And we somehow survived. And thank God we survived. Otherwise, I would be fuming right now. But instead, it's party time. I'm giving Szoboszlai a 6 as well. I don't think any of the midfielders really stood out today. So yeah, that's what he's getting. And we'll move on to Hugo Ekitike. Finally, somebody who had big parts to play in the game. And he had the biggest part to play, which was that second goal. The crucial goal in the end. What a header. I mean, what a header that was. He jumped. He goes full Space Jam, Monstar mode, like his mate Victor Wembanyama in the NBA. Jumps 35 foot in the air. Honestly, at that point, he was the tallest fella in the history of the world. Andre the Giant. Anyone who was tall. George Mura-san. I don't know any other tall people I've ran out. Yao Ming, he was also massive. These are all just basketballers. At this point, I'm just naming basketballers. He jumps up in the air. Michael Jordan dunks on Romero's head and heads the ball straight into the net. And then confirmed that Hugo Ekitike watches the Golden Sky, because if you saw his celebration, 100% it was a tribute to the Golden Sky. He pulled his kecks down. Undies on the head was all I could think about. Please, come on. Take the full kecks off. Whack your undies on your head, lad. Now, he can't obviously do that because he'll get sent off, but he took his kecks down and he stood on business with his arms folded, just looking dead cool at all the Spurs fans, like an absolute cool dude. I mean, he is so cool. It is unbelievable. He doesn't... If he was a magician, right, he wouldn't pull rabbits out of a hat. He'd pull out big, beautiful peacocks, because he is that magic. It is just beyond the realms of your possibility, your mind's imagination, how good this fella is. I love him so much. And he scored a crucial goal again. What else can you say? His link-up play, was it amazing today? No, it wasn't amazing. But he watches the Golden Sky. The celebration was awesome. The header was awesome. What more can you say? For me, it's a 7. It's a 7. Florian Wirtz. He's also another one today who I thought was one of our better players, although it by no means was vintage today at all. At the minute, Alisson is currently the man of the match, and I don't know how we got there. For me, I think Wirtz was maybe our best outfielder, especially the first half. He was the only one who was making things happen, was doing things to try and make attacks. Had the shot that Vicario made a good save on. Just looked dangerous in that left channel. He was finding Kerkez at times. And then, finally, praise be to the Lord above in heaven, Florian Wirtz has an assist in the Premier League for Liverpool. Mamma mia. I can't believe it. It is... Christmas has finally arrived. I got what I wanted. It wasn't a goal. I'll take an assist at this point. He lays it into Isak. He scores. And then I couldn't even celebrate. And we'll talk about that in a second with Isak. But great assist from Wirtz. You know, he's another one. He's so calm on the ball. He always wants to try and do something. When he's trying to take players on, he's so silky. It's like he literally gets his atoms, okay, and he disperses them on the other side of the defender and then puts them all back together on the other side. That's how he tends to go around players, like he's not even there. And shout out to Ray Hudson, if you know where that one came from. What an absolute legend. He's a brilliant player. He's showing it more and more every week. I loved his performance today, to be honest. I thought he really helped us out on the left wing, giving us some width in that second half. I don't like him really playing left wing, but when they had the 10 men, they want to obviously defend their box. I thought he helped us a lot to create chances. He was heavily involved. For me, he's an 8. He's probably our best outfielder of all of them on the pitch today, most consistent performer. And then he was absolutely crocked with cramp at the end, and I don't know why. Why can none of our players make it through 90 minutes without falling apart? I don't know. And one of them who did fall apart, unfortunately, was Alexander Isak, who came on and had maybe his most decisive moment in a Liverpool shirt so far. I know he scored at West Ham, but that goal today felt like a real, like, I'm Alexander Isak and I'm here type moment. He comes off the bench. I was crying out for him to come off the bench. Slot made the sub at the right time, so credit to Slot for that. He goes up front with Ekitike. The first chance he gets, he's played in. He makes a great run off the shoulder of the defender. He's so focused. He doesn't even look at the goal. He doesn't look at Van de Ven coming across. He knows he's going to get smashed. His focus is on the finish, and it was a brilliant finish. And his left foot, decisive, fired it into the net. It's electrifying as a toaster in a bathtub. Knocked the ball in. Liverpool go 1-0 up at a crucial time in the game. And I was ready. I had my thumbs up. I was ready to give it all the beans here on this one. I wanted to see him do it. And I couldn't see him do it because his leg's fallen off. And I hope to God he's all right. Obviously, haven't seen any updates as I come and record this straight after the game. I'll look afterwards to see. Hopefully, he's not that injured. But it didn't look great. He got really caught between Van de Ven's legs there. Hopefully, he's okay. Look, it's a decisive moment and it could be lift-off for him. It'll be a massive shame if he gets injured for a long time as a result. But yeah. Great goal. That's all he needed to do. For me, he gets a 7. He played 12 minutes. They were a decisive 12 minutes due to that goal. So 7 for Isak. And we'll go to Frimpong, who also, I thought, did well when he came on. And he had a mental game. It was mental. Frimpong came on and Liverpool went full Chuckle Brothers FC. It was just slapstick comedy from that point onwards. I mean, first of all, he goes right wing. We signed this guy, I'm pretty sure, as a right back because we played him right back on the first game of the season when we had everybody fit. Yet, when we bring him on and Szoboszlai's on, we prefer to leave Szoboszlai at right back and play Frimpong at right wing. So that's a bit confusing. But then it turned out well because he's absolutely rapid. I mean, he is so quick. I'm talking about Ekitike, or Wirtz, dispersing his atoms on one side of the defender. Frimpong, he's another one doing that. He is so fast. Legs spent down the line. He tries to keep up, but he can't. He has to overcommit. Frimpong jinks back on his left foot, puts a good cross in for Ekitike to go Space Jam and head it in the net. Now, that was a great assist. Things looking good at that point. I was happy with Frimpong. Then they get the corner, and there was a bit of pushing and shoving, and all of a sudden, Frimpong's headband was round his neck, right? And I'm thinking, why is his headband round his neck? And then he went to put it back on, and he put the thing over his eyes. He was wearing it like a blindfold. I think that's why we conceded. Frimpong, he couldn't see. He was playing blindfold football. God knows why. Go back and watch it. His headband is not. He's not ready, and I fully blame that on why we conceded. So we concede there, thanks to blindfold Frimpong, and then next minute, after he's already gone Barry Chuckle, they throw the ball in, and Richarlison elbows him in the face. He's got blood pouring out of his mouth, and he went full head loss. I mean, he was fuming. He was sat down. There was blood pouring. He goes up to the ref. He looks like he's just eaten somebody, right? If anyone's seen that Timothée Chalamet film where they're like cannibals, is it called Bones and All, right? Where they eat people, right? That was Frimpong. He went full bones and all. It looked like he'd eaten Richarlison by the time he went off. He was so mad. I've never seen anything like it. We took him off. It was genius from Slot, because if we didn't take him off, he had to go off for 30 seconds. We brought Chiesa on. I thought it was absolutely genius. Frimpong, I'm going to give him, you know what, for pure entertainment purposes, he gets a 7. He gets a bonus point for being funny. What on earth happened there? And then we brought Chiesa on for him, and I said this, my family there were going, why haven't we brought Chiesa on when we brought Frimpong on? And I had to remind them, guys, we're never going to bring Chiesa on because Arne Slot just simply doesn't think Chiesa is good at football. We can forget about Chiesa, basically, as a player for us. He plays only when he absolutely has to. And that was the last 3 minutes when Slot did a bit of genius substituting to keep 11 players on the pitch. Other than that, he remains firmly in the dungeon as the chief keeper of the dungeons. I mean, he comes on, he had bright blue boots on. Why not? And he basically did nothing. But he was there, and that's all that matters, Chiesa. The substitution alone is almost worth a bonus point. What do you think Chiesa has for Christmas? My favourite part of the Chiesa performance was when Romero got sent off, and you can see Chiesa on the camera. He's looking at the ref with the widest eyes you've ever seen. Full crazy Italian eyes, like, Like this, he couldn't believe what Romero was doing. 6 for Chiesa. And then these two came on. Robbo and Nyoni come on. It was like Robbo had took his son with him to come and play football at the park. And he came on. He made 2 runs, Robbo. The first one, he sprints down the line. He gets the ball. And Nyoni, his mate, we'll do a dual rating here. Nyoni is about 25 yards offside. Has he learned the offside rule? I'm not sure. Because he stood so far offside. And Robbo, the absolute bloody idiot, kicks him the ball. And they got a free kick. I could have killed him. I could have killed Nyoni. The next time he got it, again, he's like running down the wing. He's trying to get it. He loses it. Luckily, that was the end of the game. And it was time for me to breathe. Just like now, it's time for me to breathe. What a whirlwind the last 45 minutes of my life has been. The Cardiac Reds, mate. Let's give them both, Nyoni and Robbo, a 6 each. Merry Christmas to them. And Merry Christmas to all of you guys who watched the ratings. They are the player ratings. Let's get them off the board. Thank you very, very much for watching, everybody. Liverpool win again. We are level on points with 4th now. Arsenal and Everton are playing as we speak. I don't know the result at the minute. I'm going to go watch that. Let's fully get behind the Blue Noses because of the title. Is it still on? Who knows? They're the player ratings for another crazy game. I really do hope that you did enjoy the video today, guys. And if you did, please do drop a like on the video. We're aiming for 30 likes now on the videos. So if you can click that like button, help me get there. And if you are new around here, please do click subscribe. We're aiming now for 500 subscribers. So help me get there. Let's get a few more subscribers from this video closer to 500. Would really appreciate that. If you did enjoy, podcast listeners, 5-star rating and reviews, follow the show on whatever platform you like to consume it. I'll be back with a tactics video in the coming days for this one because the next game is Wolves, which I believe is only in a week. So I hope everyone has an amazing Christmas. If I don't speak to you before, although I might do, I probably will with the tactics video. But enjoy the festive period, guys. Liverpool have won. You can go and enjoy the rest of your weekends. I'll speak to you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.